الشيطان الرجيم من حمزه ونفخه ونفثه. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين والعاقبة للمتقين ولا عدوان إلا على الظالمين. وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله صلى الله عليه وعلى آله وأصحابه ومن دعا بدعوته واستنى بسنته إلى يوم الدين. وبعد. Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. We have already started the explanation of Surah Al-Mujadila. We started that last week, and we are going to continue from where we have stopped. We stopped on the verse about Najwa, counsel or secret counseling, or secret consultations, secret meetings. And we are continuing from those verses now. So we are going to continue from verse 11, where Allah, after Allah admonishes about gatherings, consultations, and then he says we should not gather for the sake of committing sins or transgressions. فَلَا تَتَنَاجَوْا بِالْإِثْمِ وَالْعُدْوَانِ وَمَعْصِيَةِ الرَّسُولِ. Neither should we gather for the sake of disobeying the messengers of Salam. Because people hold meetings sometimes solely to plan to do evil. And you see them gathering, calling for meetings, serious planning, and you will think they are planning for something good. But you'll be amazed to see that they are planning evil. And as such, you see them being serious with their plans and all of that. So Allah tells us, have you not seen such persons like that? So Allah admonishes that we must not behave like that. And if we must gather at all, for any reason, then we should not gather for sin, for transgression. Rather, we should do it for وَتَنَاجَوْا بِالْبِرِّ وَتَقْوَى, for righteousness and fear of Allah. And Allah admonishes وَتَقُوا اللَّهَ الَّذِي تَسَاءَلُونَ وَتَقُوا اللَّهَ الَّذِي تَسَاءَلُونَ بِالْأَرْحَامِ. Right? No, وَتَقُوا اللَّهَ الَّذِي إِلَيْهِ تُحْشَرُونَ. Fear Allah, the one whom you will return to. This is how Allah admonishes us. Now, after admonishing us, Allah tells us that the Najwa, the secret consultations, are always from the shaitan. So Allah says, إِنَّمَا نَجْوَى مِنَ الشَّيْطَانِ لِيَحْزُنَ الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا وَلَيْسَ بِضَارِّهِمْ شَيْئًا إِلَّا بِإِذْنِ اللَّهِ. That such secret consultations are from the devil. And the devil wishes to use that to dissuade people and turn people away from Allah. Well, Allah says, وَلَيْسَ بِضَارِهِمْ شَيْئًا إِلَّا بِإِذْنِ اللَّهِ. The devil will not succeed except by Allah's permission. And then after Allah says, وَعَلَى اللَّهِ فَلْيَتَوَكَّلِ الْمُؤْمِنُونَ. Upon Allah, let the believers put their trust. After all of this, Allah now begins to admonish us regarding our manners and characters. So Allah, from these verses, we will now see how Allah talks about our manners, what or how we should behave as Muslims, regarding our morals. So Allah says, Ya ayyuha alladhina amanu, idha qila lakum tafassahu fil majalis fafsahu. Allah says, "Oh, you believe, when you are told to make room for others in a gathering, fafsahu, then make room. Make room. Yafsahillahu lakum. Allah will make room for you." Do you understand? Are we following? Allah says, when you are told to make room, then make room. What does this mean? This is in accordance with what happened during the time of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Sometimes take that call outside. They're disturbing us. Nah. You are not going to send me money too. The money will not reach my hand. Will reach my hand. Now, so Allah admonishes us in verse 11 regarding our assemblies, our gatherings. So, those days when the companions used to gather with the Prophet ﷺ, and they were together holding lectures, giving them sermons. So they would, because they want to listen to the Prophet ﷺ, they don't want to lose from the lectures and from the sermons. When other people come to join, nobody will want to get up for anybody to sit down. Nobody will want to adjust because they want to maintain their positions. They want to, gain, they don't want to lose their positions. So Allah says they used to stay together. So Allah admonished them by saying, when anybody comes to join the gathering, make room for them. Allow others to have chance to sit down. Even if you may not have to stand up for another person to sit down, because there's a hadith regarding that you should not stand up, or you should not allow somebody to stand up for you to sit down. If you already meet them sitting, all right, you should not allow somebody to stand up for you to sit down as a way of, proving that you are a very important person. So it is not from the Islamic manners and morals that you should let people stand up for you to sit down. Rather, you should make room for each other, adjust, create a space for another person to stay. If you do that, what will happen? Allah says, Yafsahillahu lakum. Allah will make room for you. Make room for you simply means Allah will recompense you. Allah will grant you a space also in Jannah. It is normal, it's usual, that Allah always admonishes us, even the Rasulullah admonishes us to do good, and then Allah will pay us in return. For example, in the hadith, Allah's messenger said, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, man bana lillahi masjidan, bana Allahu lahu baytan fil jannah. Allah's messenger said, if any of you builds a house for Allah, a mosque for Allah, then Allah will build a house for him in Jannah. This is to show that it's already in the tradition of Allah that he will recompense a servant of his for any good deed he does for his sake, for any sacrifice he makes. In another hadith, the Prophet said, وَمَنْ يَسَّرَ عَلَى مُعْسِرٍ يَسَّرَ اللَّهُ عَلَيْهِ فِي الدُّنْيَا وَالْآخِرَةِ. Whoever makes life easy for another person, Allah will make life easy for him in this dunya and the akhirah. Whoever brings about ease, to ease a difficulty for anybody, then Allah will also grant him ease in this life as well as in the akhirah. The Prophet continued that hadith. Wallahu fi awni al-abdi ma kana al-abdu fi awni akhihi. Allah will surely help a believer a servant as long as he helps his brother. In other words, when you help your brother, be sure that Allah's help will find you. Allah does not forsake any good. Whatever good you do, you get a reward for it. So, two things. One, when you make things easy for people, Allah will make things easy for you. And when you help people, Allah will help you. How do you make things easy for people? There are many ways. It could be in your place of work. There are some persons you will go to who happen to occupy certain public offices. You will suffer before you get what you want, even if you are not supposed to suffer. Some persons who just want to use the privilege of their offices to make sure people suffer. And people beg them and respect them and obey them before they get what they want. So if you happen to occupy an office where people are in need of certain services in your disposal, then ensure and endeavor to make things easy for people. Allah has promised that when you make things easy for people, Prophet said, Yassarallahu alayhi fi dunya wal akhirah. Then Allah will make things easy for you also in this world and the akhirah. And he says, Wallahu fi awni al-abdi ma kana al-abdu fi awni akhihi. Allah will surely help you, help a servant, as long as such a servant helps his brother. Therefore, when Allah says, Fafsahu yafsahillahu lakum, it is in a similar tradition by saying Allah will make room for you as long as you make room for others. As long as you create space for others to be involved, to benefit, then Allah will create space for you also in this dunya as well as akhirah. Now, it is reported in a hadith as recorded by Imam Ahmad, لا يقوم الرجل للرجل من مجلسه ولكن افسحوا يفسح الله لكم. Nobody should get up for another person in a gathering. In other words, a man should not leave his place for another man. You know, it is also not permissible that you stand up because a person comes in. For example, somebody important walks into this place and everybody stands up to greet them. This is not permissible in Islam. A man should not get up for another man, no matter how important they are. Okay? This is to ensure humility upon everybody and equity, and to let us know that we are equal before Allah. Nobody is more important than the other, except by way of taqwa. As Allah says, Inna akramakum indallahi atqakum. The most honorable of you in the sight of Allah is the one who has fear of Allah. This is the means by which Allah measures our level of importance, our taqwa. Besides that, nothing else. Nobody is more important than the other. So it is not permissible in Islam that you get up, you stand up when somebody comes in. You know, in some churches, you see them in the videos, that when the head of the church, the pastor or whoever is in charge, is talking, and then he walks close to the people, All of them will stand up. Have we not seen that before? When he walks close to the people, any place he walks to, the people on that seat, that area will stand up. He goes over to the other place, those there will stand up. When he leaves, they sit down. So this is what Islam prohibits. Islam frowns against. Nobody is too important. That is why it is not permissible for an imam to pray sitting down while the Jama'ah prays standing. Do you understand? When the imam is sitting, the Jama'ah should sit. You know, there are some salawat that one can pray sitting, right? Qiyamul Layl and likes. So even when the imam falls sick during the salah, and the imam decides to sit to pray, the Jama'ah should sit. The Jama'ah should not stand behind him, so that it does not seem as though he is better than them. And so he is sitting and others are standing. I hope you understand. Now, 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 in terms of respect for elders, the Prophet Muhammad SAW tells us that the one who does not respect the elders and the one who is not merciful to the young ones is not one of us. Meaning he's not a Muslim. So a Muslim has every right, or has the obligation to respect the elders and to be merciful to the younger ones. However, do not allow yourself to be in a position where anytime you come in, somebody has to get up for you to sit. Rather, encourage people to make room. Adjust. Let us manage it together. Instead of asking somebody to get up so that you sit. If anyone decides to get up for you because of your condition, especially when there's no way to make room, maybe a pregnant woman walks in, a very old person walks in, and we feel that standing will not be comfortable for them, and there's no way to make room. There's nothing wrong in standing for them to sit. This is okay. But if that is not the case, then we should not do that. Allah will start. Now, yes, that's what I'm saying. Now, now it is not permissible to stand up for somebody as a way of respecting. When somebody comes in, everybody stand up, greet him, or for him to sit down. All right. However, if one decides to stand up for an elderly person who cannot stand, then there's nothing wrong with that. Or anybody who is sick is a situation that cannot allow them to stand, and anybody decides without them asking or demanding, everybody decides to stand up to allow them sit, and there is no way to make space, it is preferable to create room and let everybody sit together. It is preferable to do that than for one to stand up entirely for another person to sit. However, if one does that from their own will, without the one standing demanding it, then this is okay. This is okay. Now, Now, in that situation, you are under a state of duress. You are under a situation that is beyond your control. Okay? And that is not, there's no problem with that. Because it is beyond your control. You are being obliged to do so. Do you understand? Now, when you are in a situation where you are not able to say no, Allah understands, Allah knows. There's no problem with that. But otherwise, you should not do that. Allah musta'an, Allah alam. Sorry? Why should the student stand? When the Imam is giving a khutbah, do we not sit down and the Imam is standing? There are times when you are teaching, it is preferable for a teacher to stand by Islamic codes of conduct. It's preferable for a teacher to stand because you command more respect, or you are able to talk more with authority when you stand than when you sit. You understand? Now, can we continue now? Leave it, okay. Yes. It also feels right. Now. Now, and then he will now stand. Will he now stand? Good. Beautiful. Tafassahu fil majalis. Make room for people to sit. Now. No, it is not. It is wrong. Fatima is not in the same position with the Prophet ﷺ. The Prophet is her father, right? So Fatima is not in a higher authority. So the Prophet ﷺ did not do that out of respect for her. Rather, he did it out of compassion, love. Okay, not out of respect. So it becomes something else when a younger one is doing it to an elderly one. That is, in terms of authority, so that it now becomes matter of respect, and then it now begins to lead to pride and arrogance. This is what we should avoid. Can we continue? Now, your guests, when somebody visits you and comes in, definitely when somebody comes to your house, a stranger comes to your house, you are the host. Do you expect to remain seated? You are going to go and meet the person and usher them in, right? Good, because you are a host. It is different from when you are a guest and then you come and then you sit and somebody now comes, walks in, or you are in a place that is not for any of you, not for you, it's not for another person, and you are sitting. Another person now walks in. This is a different matter. Please allow the boy to feel free. As long as he's not hearing anything. Now, can we continue? Okay. Allah, the Prophet told us, إِذَا قِيلَ لَكُمْ تَفَسَّحُوا مَجَالِسِ. Okay, as the Quran says, if you are told to get up, then get up, and Allah will make room for you. Then وَإِذَا قِيلَ أَنْشُزُوا فَانْشُزُوا. When you are told to rise, then rise. What does this mean? When you are told to rise for jihad, then rise. When you are told to rise up for any good thing, to go and do something good for jihad, then rise. When you are told, there's something good coming up, let us do sadaqah, let us go and visit this person that is sick, let's do any good thing. Allah says, respond to that message, that call immediately. This is the meaning. وَإِذَا قِيلَ انشُزُوا فَانشُزُوا وَإِذَا قِيلَ انشُزُوا فَانشُزُوا. When you are told to rise, then rise. I hope you understand. When you are told to rise, then rise. Now, in the next verse, Allah says, يَرْفَعِ اللَّهُ الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا مِنكُمْ وَالَّذِينَ أُوتُوا الْعِلْمَ دَرَجَاتٍ وَاللَّهُ مَا تَعْمَلُونَ خَبِيرٌ. Here, Allah is admonishing the one who created the room for another person. Allah is admonishing those who eventually get up out of the fact that out of compassion, oh, this person is an elderly person, this person is pregnant, let them come and sit. So Allah is giving you an assurance that your level will not be degraded. Rather, Allah will elevate your status. So Allah says, يَرْفَعِ إِلَّهُ الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا مِنكُمْ. Allah will elevate the status of those who believe amongst you. So by creating room, you are not reducing your status. Rather, you are increasing your status. Rather, Allah will increase you, Allah will elevate you. So before Allah, your status is elevated. Allah will exalt you in degree. And those who have acquired knowledge also, Allah will exalt them in degree. This is one of the virtues of knowledge, of acquiring and seeking it. That Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will increase you in status higher than the others. It was reported that Umar bin Khattab appointed a governor. He appointed Abu Atufail to be the governor of Mecca. Okay? When he appointed Abu Tufail to be the governor of Mecca, he then asked the governor, who have you appointed as your deputy to take charge of the other areas, to take charge of the valley, people in the valleys in Mecca? Who have you appointed as a deputy? Abu Tufail responded that he had appointed Ibn Abza as his deputy. Then Umar asked him, did you appoint a slave? Because Ibn Abza was a slave, a freed slave. So he said, did you appoint a freed slave to be a governor of a people? He now said, Ya Umar, Ya Amirul Mu'minin, O leader of the believers, this freed slave has memorized the book of Allah, and he has knowledge of inheritance. And then when he said this, Umar responded, Inna Allah yarfa'u biha al-kitab qawman wa yaba'u bihi akharin. Now, he said, Inna Allah, he said, the Prophet said, Inna Allah yarfa'u biha al-kitab. That verily, Allah elevates some people with this book, this Quran. Allah uses this Quran to elevate some people. Now, وَيَضَعُ بِهِ آخَرِينَ, and Allah reduces the status of some people with the book also. Allah elevates some persons with this book, and Allah also uses the same book to bring some people down. We don't understand this. If we understand this, we will not have the same, we will not be smiling. Allah elevates some persons with this book, and Allah uses the same book to demote some people. Some of you still don't understand. With the Quran, Allah elevates people. With the Quran, Allah brings down people. Those who honor the Quran, Allah honors them. Those who dishonor the Quran, Allah dishonors them. Those who hold the Quran in high esteem, Allah holds them in high esteem. One of the ways of holding the Quran in high esteem is by striving to commit it into memory, to memorize it. While some are busy striving to memorize the Quran and recite the Quran and become a part of the Quran, others are lazy and they don't bother about their relationship with the Quran. While others are striving even in old age to make the Quran a part of them, others are lazy and others do not bother about it. This is the month of Ramadan. It is the month of the Quran. The Prophet, his companions used to lock up their shops a month before Ramadan in Shaban. And they used to commit themselves and their time to the Quran. Allah says, "Shahr Ramadan alladhi unzila fil Quran." This is a month of Ramadan in which the Quran was revealed. Huda lin-nasi, as a guide to mankind. Wa bayyinati min al-huda wal furqan, and a criterion between right and wrong. Do we understand? So Ramadan is the month of the Quran, in which the Quran was revealed. Have you not realized, have you not discovered that whatever is connected with the Quran attains greatness? Whatever is connected. Now, let's continue. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, as I was saying, elevates some persons with the Quran, and then he brings down people also with the Quran. When Allah mentions the Quran, in the Quran itself, everything connected with the Quran gets a lot of greatness. Let's pay attention. Everything connected to the Quran gets a lot of greatness. The night in which the Quran was revealed is called Laylatul Qadr, the night of majesty. That night, Allah says, Khayru min alfi shahr. It is better than 1,000 months, not 1,000 nights, not 1,000 weeks, not 1,000 hours. It is better than 1,000 months. 1,000 months is equivalent to 83 years and 4 months. Are we following? 1,000 months is equal to 83 years and 4 months. One night. Why is that night so important? It is connected with the Quran. The last 10 nights of Ramadan become the best 10 nights of the year. Why? Because the night of majesty is among the last 10 nights of Ramadan. Ramadan itself, in which the Quran was revealed, becomes the best month of the year. Becomes the best month of the year. There is no other month in which we are to fast compulsorily for the entire month other than Ramadan. So Allah says it is a month of the Quran. So we can now see that whatever Allah has connected with the Quran holds a lot of importance and greatness. The messenger, Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, through whom the Quran was revealed, became Imamul Mursaleen wal Anbiya, became the leader of all the prophets and messengers. He became Khayru Khalqillah, the best of the creatures of Allah. He became the leader of mankind. The angel who brought the Quran to the Prophet ﷺ, who revealed it to the Prophet ﷺ in pieces, is the angel Jibril. He became the archangel, the leader of all the angels. The ummah, the nation, the community, the people to whom the Quran was revealed are the best of people. Allah says, Kuntum khayra ummatin ukhrijat linnas. You are the best people who have ever existed from amongst mankind. Who? This ummah. Why? Ta'amuruna bil ma'ruf, because you enjoin goods. Wa tanhawna 'anil munkar, and you forbid evil. Wa tu'minuna billah, and you believe in Allah. This is the ummah that is connected with the Quran. Are we following? And as such, Allah brought it up, elevated the status. So Umar radhiyallahu says, Inna Allah yarfa'u bihadha al-kitab qawman. Allah uses this kitab, this book, this Quran to elevate people, to raise the status of people, to make them better, to make them honorable. And with the same Quran, وَيَضَعُ بِهِ آخَرِينَ, it brings people down. With the same Quran, he demotes people. Because of the Quran, a slave has been made to be a governor over a people. People who are free. Because of the same Quran, those persons have been made subject over another person, over a slave. So with the Quran, Allah has elevated the slave, and with the same Quran, Allah has brought the other ones low. Look at what Allah, the Prophet tells us regarding the Quran of Qiyamah. He says, only two things will be allowed to testify, to beg, intercede on behalf of the people in the day of judgment. What are the two things? One, the Quran will come and say, Allah, this person used to recite me every night. He will not sleep. She will not sleep. She will recite and memorize and read me in Salah and otherwise every night. So today, I will not rest until he or she is admitted into Jannah. The fast will also come in a human form and say, Allah, this person refrained from food and drink and sexual intercourse with their spouses because of me during the day. They will not rest because of me during the day, and they will do this continuously. So today I will not rest until they are admitted into paradise. These two will intercede on behalf of the people of Qiyamah. The question is, what is your connection with the Quran currently? Are you one of those who are regarded as Ahlul Quran, the people of the Quran? In your community, if we are told to select people of the Quran out, will you be among them? It is not difficult to know who are those who are the people of the Quran. You always see them with the Quran. They are always reciting it. They are always quoting it. They are always working with it. They are always practicing. They are in love with it. They always play it. You don't hear them playing music. You don't hear them playing nasheeds. You hear them playing the Quran. They are in love with the Quran. You hear them memorizing it all the time. You hear them repeating it all the time. So it is not difficult to know them. It's not difficult to distinguish them from the others. Now the question is, are you in this category? Do you belong to this group of people who are regarded as Ahl Quran? Realize that the Quran is not just a book for us. It is what? A guide. Why guide you?
You have difficulties, you have problems. You are looking for one malam and one afar. When you have the Quran, why don't you let it guide you? Allah says, "Wattaqullaha wa yu'allimukumullah." Fear Allah and Allah will teach you. Allah will do what? Allah will teach you. Be conscious of Allah and you will find Allah teaching you what to do, how to do it. Allah will be your guide. But you have to connect with Allah first. How do you connect with Allah? By connecting with the speech of Allah. Because by reading the Quran, by reciting the Quran, it is like you are repeating the words of Allah. You are speaking the language of Allah. You are connecting with Allah. Our Rasulullah tells us, أصدق الحديث كتاب الله, or خير الكتاب كتاب الله. The best of books, the most truthful of speeches is the speech of Allah, the book of Allah. وخير هدي هدي محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم. And the best guidance is the guidance of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. If you allow the speech of Allah to connect with you, then you will find Allah's guidance in everything you do. Allah also described the Quran as light. Allah says, فَآمِنُوا بِاللَّهِ وَرَسُولِهِ وَالنُّورِ الَّذِي أَنزَلْنَا. Believe in Allah and believe in His Messenger. وَالنُّورِ الَّذِي أَنزَلْنَا, and believe in this nur, this light we have revealed. What is the light? The Quran. So if you allow the Quran to be part and parcel of you, it will serve as light for you. It will enlighten you. It will become inner light for you. It will lighten your path. It will straighten your path. It will guide you. It will teach you. And it will elevate you. It will elevate you. There is no better time than now to regain your connection with the Quran and with Allah. Because we're in the month in which the Quran was revealed. We're in the month in which the devils have been chained. The chiefs of the devils have been chained. So they have been restrained from prompting you to do evil and discouraging you from doing good. Now they are restrained. If you do not have that time now in Ramadan to connect with the Quran, then there is no other time you are going to be able to do that. Some of us had intentions of reading the Quran in Ramadan, of memorizing the Quran in Ramadan. Unfortunately, Ramadan is day 7 today, or day 8 today. And we have not achieved a quarter of what we planned to achieve. We may think there is still time, but this is one of the mistakes we make in Ramadan. Procrastinating, thinking we have time, we'll finish it, we'll do this, we'll do that. Today is day 8. We have just 2 days before 1/3 of Ramadan. 1/3 of Ramadan. To be gone by Monday rather. And then we'll now have just 19 or 20 days remaining. All the plans that we had to begin to become more difficult the more we prolong them. Some of us, we don't open our Quran unless it is Ramadan. If you go to your shelves, you see how dusty the Qurans are. Some of us, Ramadan started, we still did not open it. We are waiting for the last 10 nights. Some of us, the last 10 nights will still not open until Ramadan is over. And then we'll start blaming one nafs, start blaming one whatever. Remember that your own soul is enough to make you to elevate you as well as to bring you down. That is why Allah tells us that anybody who is able to conquer the desires of their soul will be successful. Anybody who is able to overcome their own soul is successful. وَمَنْ يُقَشُحَ نَفْسِهِ فَأُولَٰئِكَ هُمُ الْمُفْلِحُونَ. Whoever is able to conquer his own soul becomes successful. Because of the inclinations that the soul has to do evil and not to do good, and so on. So anybody who is able to overcome those inclinations, those desires of the soul, then such a person is successful. We ask Allah to grant us success. Again, Umar radiallahu anhu reported that the Prophet ﷺ said, Inna Allah yarfa'a bihadha al-kitabi qawman. That verily Allah elevates anybody he likes with this book. Or Allah elevates people with this book. Wa yad'u bihi akharin. And with it also Allah brings people down. After that, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala continues, Allah mentions what we should do before we go and seek. You know, at that time, the Prophet ﷺ used to have a lot of visitors coming to ask him questions. You know, Prophet, I have social question. They ask him. So people became too many, and it became tiring to the Prophet ﷺ. But the Prophet could not talk. He could not say anything. He could not stop it. You know, when you barely have time to do anything else. I was listening to Sheikh Asim al-Hakim, and he was telling us that he barely has time for himself. I believe we know Asim. He barely has time for himself. We know him, right? The old man with gray hair, whose video we see every time on the internet. He's from Saudi and he speaks very good English because he studied linguistics, English linguistics. And he's a scholar. He's a highly respected student of knowledge. Now, Sheikh Asim al-Hakim said that he hardly has time for himself because he receives calls even at night. His phone rings, Assalamu alaikum, wa alaikum salam. Somebody asks him a question, he answers. And he has a limitation of time. He does not pick the call of one person more than once in a day. So if you call and you know he has picked your call before, he does not answer you. Because of the hundreds of calls he gets every day. This is just a person, a Muslim. He was not one of this Salaf. He was not one of the Tabi'un. He was not one of the Sahaba. He was not even the Prophet. He's just a person, a student of knowledge. Look at Bin Baz, rahimahullah. May Allah have mercy on him. Sheikh Bin Baz was the Grand Mufti of Saudi when he was alive. He was a blind man, yet he was very diligent even in his workplace. He worked in a place for over 50 years and he never went there late one day. He was never late at work one day. One day, his salaries, whenever he is paid, his salary will not stay with him unless he distributes it to people. Mostly people he did not even know, because messages will come to him from different parts of the country, of the world. We need this, we need that. So when the money comes, he distributes, he's sent to different parts of the world. He does not even know the people. He was a blind man, and when you see him, you think he's a wretched person. You see him as a very poor person who doesn't have anything. He was a grand mufti, but when he opens his mouth to talk, you see pearls of knowledge coming out. He would never iron his clothes. He would wear one particular type of scarf all the time. He had 2 telephones. You know the telephones. There was no social media, you know. So he had 2 telephones. He could be on a call on one of the phone, answering the call of a caller. The caller will ask a question and the mufti is answering, and the other one will ring. So the PA will bring it and say take. So he will tell this one, hold on, and he will answer the other one. And you could hear him answering questions from another person. And when he's done, he comes back. Now he continues to answer. And you know, before he finishes, the phone is ringing again. And he continues to answer, picking calls, telling people about Islam, people about Allah, people asking different questions, providing answers to them. This was a human being who was not even among the Tabi'un or among the Sahaba, let alone the Prophet himself, sallallahu alayhi wasallam. There are so many examples like that. So the Prophet ﷺ was overwhelmed by the number of persons who used to come to him. So because of that, Allah revealed this verse 12. Allah says, Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu idha najaytumur rasula faqaddimu bayna yaday najwakum sadaqah. If any of you wants to go and meet the Prophet ﷺ for any consultation, then you must spend something in charity first before you go there, so that you purify yourself before you meet him. So this became difficult for people to go and meet him because of this law. They will have to sacrifice. It was reported that only Ali bin Abi Talib followed or did this command of giving sadaqah before going to meet the Prophet, because this law only came and was in operation for only 1 hour in a day. After that 1 hour, the law was abrogated with another one. Are we paying attention? This law was only in use for 1 hour. Some of the Sahaba said in less than 1 hour in a day, and after which the law was abrogated. Allah brought another law to cancel that one. So it became difficult for people to meet the Prophet ﷺ to ask questions and to consult him. So they started to complain, and it was very difficult for them. So Allah became compassionate, and then he replaced the law with another one. By saying, فَإِن لَمْ تَجِدُوا فَإِنَّ اللَّهَ Okay, if you are not able to do that, then Allah is forgiving. Meaning, if you don't have the means out of poverty to sacrifice, to do sadaqah, then Allah is forgiving and merciful. Then in next verse, Allah says, أَأَشْفَقَتُمْ أَن تُقَدِّمُوا بَيْنَ يَدَيْ نَجْوَاكُمْ صَدَقَاتٍ. Do you feel, or are you afraid to give in charity, or are you afraid that of spending in charity before you go and meet the Prophet? Are you afraid that, oh, this might be everlasting, so how are you going to be meeting him? Is that what you are afraid of? So Allah says, فَإِذْ لَمْ تَفْعَلُوا وَتَابَ اللَّهُ عَلَيْكُمْ. Then if you don't do that, then Allah is forgiving to you. Allah forgives. Allah will forgive you. So he says, فَأَقِيمُوا الصَّلَاةَ. Therefore, observe your salah, وَآتُوا zakah, and give your zakah, وَأَطِيعُوا اللَّهَ وَرَسُولَهُ, and obey Allah and His Messenger. وَاللَّهُ خَبِيرٌ بِمَا تَعْمَلُونَ, and Allah is well aware of everything that you do. So this became an abrogation to the initial verse, that there was no need anymore to sacrifice. If you're unable to do that, no problem, Allah will forgive you, just go ahead. So this became an easy way out for the companions. After that, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us about the hypocrites, about those who come to you as though they are true believers, but rather they are hypocrites. They are neither here nor there. Like Allah said in Surah An-Nisa, مُذَبْذَبِينَ بَيْنَ ذَلِكَ. They are neither here nor there. They are in between. La ilaha ula'i wa la ilaha ula'i. They are neither with you nor with them. They are neither here nor there. They are not friends of you. They don't belong to you. They don't belong to them. Okay? So Allah says, وَمَنْ يُضْلِلِ اللَّهُ فَلَنْ تَجِدَ لَهُ سَبِيلًا. Whoever Allah misguides, or whoever Allah sends astray, such a person will not find anyone to guide him. So in verse 13 here, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions, or in verse 14 rather, Allah mentions, Alam tara ila alladhina tawallaw qawman ghadiba Allahu alayhim. Have you not seen those persons who are friends to those whom Allah has cursed? They are friends to those whom Allah has cursed. They are allies with them. Ma'hum minkum wala minhum. They are neither with you nor with them. In other words, they are not with those who Allah has cursed was referring to the Jews in Medina. So there are some Muslims who are actually munafiqun, hypocrites. They will come to me, the Prophet, and say, Ya Rasulullah, we believe, we are believers. Whereas there was no iman in their heart. So they will go and meet the Jews and make friends with them. You know? So they were neither here nor there. So Allah says, Ma'hu minkum, they are not with you, wala minhum, and they are not with them. They are just in the middle. They will play with you today and abuse them, and play with them tomorrow and abuse you. They will talk against them today with you and talk against you tomorrow with them. So they are neither here nor there. Allah says, Ma'hu minkum wala minhum. They are neither here nor there. وَيَحْلِفُونَ عَلَى الْكَذِبِ وَهُمْ يَعْلَمُونَ. And they swear while they are lying and they know. They will swear and they are lying. They know they are lying. Yeah, they will swear to make you believe that they are truthful, whereas they know they are lying. وَيَحْلِفُونَ عَلَى الْكَذِبِ وَهُمْ يَعْلَمُونَ. They will swear a lie or swear upon a lie. Just like when they came to meet the Prophet and they swore. And they said, Ya Rasulullah, we swear that we believe sincerely, and so on and so forth. They swore to Allah, to the Prophet that they believed, whereas they were not true believers. Allah says, أَعَدَّ اللَّهُ لَهُمْ عَذَابًا شَدِيدًا إِنَّهُمْ سَاءَ مَا كَانُوا يَعْمَلُونَ. Allah has prepared for them a severe torment, a punishment, a severe punishment. Allah for them severe punishment. And indeed, that which they used to do is evil. So because of that, Allah has prepared for them a severe punishment, a severe torment. Now, thereafter Allah says, اتخذوا أيمانهم جنة فصدوا عن سبيل الله. They have made their oath a screen that they hinder others from the path of Allah. Meaning, by way of swearing upon a lie, by way of swearing that they are truthful and making you believe that they are Muslims, they are with you, and they swear upon that lie. They have covered that they are lying with that swearing, because when somebody swears, you tend to believe them, right? When somebody swears and say, I will lie, you tend to believe them. So they cover their lying with swearing. Okay? They cover their lies with swears, with oaths. So Allah says, by way of doing this, they take people away from the path of Allah. Take people away from the path of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. By way of doing this. So Allah says, فَلَهُمْ عَذَابٌ مُهِينٌ. Allah says, for them will be a humiliating punishment. Allah will grant them a punishment that is humiliating. Because of their lying and swearing under their lies, and therefore betrayals and deceiving other persons. Allah Ta'ala says, لَن تُغْنِيَ عَنْهُمْ أَمْوَالُهُمْ وَلَا أَوْلَادُهُمْ مِنَ اللَّهِ شَيْئًا. Their children will not be able to benefit them, neither will their wealth be able to benefit them against Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala. Meaning, none of their possessions can take away the affliction that Allah has promised to bestow upon them. Not their wealth, nor their children will be able to benefit them. أُولَٰئِكَ أَصْحَابُ النَّارِ هُمْ فِيهَا خَالِدُونَ. They will be the dwellers, or they are the dwellers of the fire, and they will dwell in that fire forever. يَوْمَ يَبْعَثُهُمُ اللَّهُ جَمِيعًا. On the day when Allah will resurrect everybody and bring them together. That means the day of Qiyamah, the day of judgment. Allah will bring everybody back together and nobody will be left out. فَيَحْلِفُونَ لَهُ كَمَا يَحْلِفُونَ لَكُمْ وَيَحْسَبُونَ أَنَّهُمْ عَلَى شَيْءٍ. And they will swear to him, they will swear to Allah the way they used to swear to you. And they think that they have something tangible to use before Allah. The way they used to swear to you, to lie to you, they will attempt to swear to Allah also. And say, Allah, you were believers, thinking that they have something, to use, to swear with, or to use as proof for their belief, or supposed belief. They will swear to Allah Azza wa Jal that they were following the correct guidance of his and of his messengers sallallahu alaihi wasallam, just the way they used to swear to you while they were alive. So Allah says, وَيَحْسَبُونَ أَنَّهُمْ عَلَى شَيْءٍ. And they think that they have something, meaning they think that by swearing to Allah they'll be able to earn Allah's trust, and Allah will believe them. Allah says, Ala innahum humul kadhibun. Verily, they are liars. They are liars. Thereafter, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us, استحوذ عليهم الشيطان فأنساهم ذكر الله. The shaitan has overpowered them, so he has made them to forget the remembrance of Allah. The shaitan has taken over their heart to the point that he has made them to forget about Allah Azza wa Jal, and to forget that Allah is the most high, and Allah is the all-seer, is the all-seeing and all-hearing, and is aware of everything. Shaitan has made them to forget all of these, so they attempt to lie to Allah, to swear to Allah upon their lies. Now, the Prophet ﷺ tells us, ما من ثلاثة في قرية ولا بدو لا تقام فيهم الصلاة إلا قد استحوذ عليهم الشيطان فعليك بالجماعة فإنما يأكل الذنب القاصية. The Prophet says, any three in a village or in a desert, if there's any three people in a particular village or in a desert land and Salah is not called, they don't call the Salah, then the shaitan will control them. Therefore adhere to the Jama'ah, for the wolf eats from the strayed sheep. Therefore come to the Jama'ah and be part of the Jama'ah. Never separate yourself, because when you separate yourself, you become like a lone sheep which the shaitan will devour, just as the wolf devours the sheep. Allah says, Ulaika hizbu shaitan. These are the people of the devil. Those who used to lie, who used to pretend, who used to, engage in hypocrisy. Allah says that the people of the shaitan, referring to all of those controlled by the devil and by the waswas of the shaitan. Ala inna hizba shaitan humul khasirun. Verily, the people of the devil, people of the shaitan are the khasirun. They are the losers. We ask Allah to save us from such. We are going to have to pause here today, and being light Allah, we are going to complete the surah tomorrow when we meet. We have just few verses remaining, and inshallah tomorrow we are going to complete the explanation of the entire surah. We ask Allah to grant us ease, and we ask Allah to grant us understanding, and we ask Allah Azza wa Jal to make us a people of knowledge and understanding, and grant us Jannah ultimately, and save us from Jahannam. Ameen. Do we have any questions?